Welcome back to the Lyons Share. I'm Mark Elliott here with the founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth, Mitch Lyons. Again, the website, MitchLyonsWealth.com, Lyons, MitchLyonsWealth.com. We talk about the book is there, Retirement of Steel. The movie is there, The Retirement Deception. Before we get into our topic, we're going to talk about the 401k. Is it an actual retirement plan by itself? But the movie, The Retirement Deception, Exposing the Truth About Retirement Success, there's a lot in there. Can you kind of tell people that you can find it through the website, MitchLyonsWealth.com. What do they need to know about that?
Yeah, so this is a documentary I was part of. I'm very proud to be part of it because I think it does a great job of focusing on what actually brings success to a retirement plan. And we've talked about this before, Mark. It's income, right? If you have the income you need, you can rest easy, and you know it's going to keep coming month after month. So this film really digs into. We have all kind of been sold this bill of good on the markets and saving and 401k and all this, but at the end of the day, it comes down to income. So this documentary is about an hour and 10 minutes long, and a number of experts interviewed, and more importantly, real life examples of folks that have designed a plan that has created the income they need, and they speak to that. So it's really worth the watch, and you can get that code, a streaming code. You can get it right on our website. Just go to the Retirement Deception, click on it, enter your email, and you'll get a code sent right to you.
That's MitchLyonsWealth.com. So an hour 10 just to get an insight into retirement. Really, it's kind of a look ahead. Here's some of the challenges. Here's things we need to think about. The Retirement Deception, MitchLyonsWealth.com. Go there, click on the movie. Then you send them the email. They'll send you the code so you can watch it. There's no cost. Just you got a couple steps to get to. So that's really good. Let's talk about the 401k. And I think it's probably not unusual for somebody to come in for the very first time to chat with you or one of the advisors at Mitch Lyons Wealth, and you say, "Hey, do you feel like you have a retirement plan?" Well, yeah, I've got a 401k over here. I've got an IRA over there. I might have a retirement. I might have a maybe a rental home or something like that. That's my plan. Those are not plans. They're tools that are important in you putting together a plan, though, I would think.
You're right. That is not a plan. Those are parts of a plan. They're tools in the toolbox, but you need a coordinated toolbox to help you do the job. And, maybe that 401k fits in line. But again, some further analysis might suggest otherwise. If we run that risk analyzer and you're taking on way more risk in the 401 than what you're comfortable with, then we probably need to make some adjustments. And how's that going to fit in with your retirement income need? How are you going to create income from that 401 when you roll it to an IRA? How's that going, or if you did a Roth conversion, how's that going to impact perhaps your Medicare costs? Or is that going to make you incur IRMA charges when you turn 65 and turn to Medicare on? So there's a lot of pieces of the puzzle that go into all that. And it's important that when we look at that plan, that we're, taking into account all of those different factors.
And I think everybody's heard the term that, if you only have a hammer, then everything's a nail, right? And so if you're building a house and you have the best tools in the world, but you don't have a blueprint to really kind of tell you how to do it, that's kind of the idea when it comes to retirement. We have tools. What is their purpose, I guess? What are they supposed to do for you? So people have a lot of things in there. Let's say back to your market comment. So you have a lot of different things in that 401k or that IRA, and you don't really know exactly, maybe to a degree, what exactly you're invested in. But what's the purpose of that money, right? I mean, that's kind of the idea. If you only have a hammer, then it'd be hard to build a house. You're going to need some other tools.
Exactly. And I'll use annuities as an example, right? A lot of people have heard about annuities, maybe good, bad, and different. But I say I don't look at them at any of those because it's just a tool. No different than a rake probably does a better job raking your yard in the fall than a shovel will, right? However, if I want to shovel my driveway, I probably don't want to use a rake. So I don't get caught up on what things are called as what does it do for you? And even in my movie, The Retirement Deception, right? I say, I don't care what you call it. You can call it a cow, but if it gives me more income than what I would otherwise be able to take, then I'll buy that cow. And that's kind of how we look at a plan, right? What are the best tools for your situation? Not your neighbor's situation, not your coworker's situation. What makes sense for you and what's going to get you to where you need to be the fastest and keep you there? And that's what we'll use. And, that just comes down to a quick conversation to finding out where you are to start with, running some analysis on where you are, and then saying, okay, hey, what if we pulled this lever or tweaked this account and this, that, and the other thing? And how does that improve your situation?
And the tools that we use to get to retirement, are they a little bit different when we get to retirement? Can the same tools just carry us all the way through to the end? I suppose they could, but there might be better tools for retirement.
Well, for example, if you're 30, 35 years old and you're dumping money in your 401k, then hey, go, I'd recommend 100% stock portfolio at that point. Growth, grow it as much as you can. The stock market's proven time and again over longer periods of time, it outperforms other assets. However, when you start getting closer to retirement, and we call that the retirement red zone, it's kind of like a football field. The last 20 yards changes, the game changes. It gets tighter. You've got to make different decisions than maybe you did in the open field, quicker decisions and be more dialed in. And that's the same thing when it comes to retirement. So it's not that you don't need all the same tools. You might need them in different doses. Maybe not as much in the stock market, because now you're not going to be continuing to dollar cost average in retirement. Now you need to start pulling money out. So you mentioned the blueprint. Well, we better have those support beams where they need to be in retirement, right? Because we don't want the roof collapsing while you're in retirement. So we want to make sure we've got the support beams in place, and that we've got the proper tools to generate the income you need repeatedly month after month, but yet still have some in the market, because you need long-term growth. If you're going to have a 30-year retirement, we want to keep up with inflation. And so there's certainly a place for all those tools, but in different measures.
So when you're sitting down with clients at Mitch Lyons Wealth, and you're walking through their investments, their assets, if you will, and you're trying to come up with a retirement plan, you want to make sure they're using the hammer, not when they need the saw, right? You want to make sure they're using the right tool for that. How do you help them organize their assets to all head in the direction that they need to be headed in, rather than just a wild variety of stuff that we've thrown into our portfolio?
Right. So our comprehensive plan that we'll take folks through it looks at everything, right? What type of account is it? Is it a pre-tax account that we have to factor in the fact it's all going to be taxed? That that $500,000 401k, we've talked about this, is not a $500,000 401k. You've got a partner on that. It's Uncle Sam, and we don't know what percentage he owns. So we need to take that into account. Maybe it makes sense to maybe start doing some Roth conversions on that account and get that out of a taxable account into a Roth. Is it a tax deferred account, like a brokerage account, right? Where maybe you've got some holdings in there that you're not going to pay tax on right now, but when you sell them, you will. So all that factors in, and we need to take into account all those different tax impacts and what they do to other things, like we talked about with Social Security and Medicare surcharges and so on and so forth. But we want to look at that in its totality so that we are accounting for, hey, when I'm 65 and I need income and I'm pulling it out of the 401k, well, I need 40 grand a year. Well, how much are you going to have to take out of that to actually net 40 grand, right? So all that gets baked in, and it's important to, again, take stock of where you are, where are your assets, and is there a better place they should be? Could we reposition them perhaps ahead of time before retirement so that you're in a better spot and can create more dollars for yourself in retirement?
So the process at Mitch Lyons Wealth is the retirement of steel. I don't know if we've really talked about that much. Can you kind of walk through the process of the retirement of steel, what all it entails? Because there's a lot of different areas in retirement that we've got to have a strategy for. It's not just income. Income is kind of where it starts. If you have the income you need month after month, hey, you're pretty good to go. But there's other categories that the retirement of steel takes into account, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think the first step is in identification, right? Let's identify where you are, okay? And more importantly, where do you want to go? What does retirement look like to you? And then again, kind of reverse engineer. Right? If that's what we want it to look like, and here's where we are, what has to happen in the interim? So there's the identify, and then the next step we want to fortify. You've spent a lifetime building this. We want to make sure you don't lose it. So let's make sure it's fortified. We have those support beams where we need them so that you don't go backwards in retirement. And then really we want to optimize it. Okay, we want to identify where you're at, how we can get you where you need, fortify it, protect you, and then optimize it. And that comes down to where I was talking about the whole taxation thing. Hey, boy, if we can pay less to Uncle Sam, that just means there's more money in our pocket. So if we can show you over a 30-year retirement how maybe doing a Roth conversion in the next 4 years, maybe that creates so much more wealth for you in retirement and leave to your heirs. You can make that decision. We'll identify it for you, show it to you, and it's ultimately your decision. And but I always say it's not my opinion. I'm just going to show you the math on it, and then you can make some decisions from there.
And that's really the idea. So that now when you're making decisions, boy, can I retire? Well, when? Do we have enough? All those questions kind of get answered, and now it's up to you. Mitch is going to show you the math, and emotions play into this too, though, don't they, Mitch? You have to deal with emotions.
Well, yes, Roth conversions are a great example of that. We can show people all day that, hey, the math suggests that it makes sense for you to convert this Roth IRA over the next 5 years. But what has to happen when you convert a Roth IRA or to a Roth IRA? You got to pay the taxes. Nobody likes to pay those taxes, right? Even though we can say, hey, if you don't pay them, it's just going to continue. The can's going to get kicked down. And here's what you're ultimately going to pay over your lifetime, which is going to be gazillions of dollars more than if you just converted now and paid it. But it's still hard to stroke that check and lose that. But it's so important. And I always tell people, listen, it was never all your money, right? Uncle Sam, he didn't take the taxes on the front end. He just had it invested with you. He took his money and invested it with you. And whether you pay it now, get that partner out of your financial life, or whether you're going to hold him on as a partner, and you don't even know what percentage he owns, because down the road, if tax rates go up, which a lot of America think they will when the debt is over $38 trillion, if tax rates go up down the road, that puts you even in a worse spot. You're going to take it out and have it taxed at a higher rate. And if you leave it to your kids, they're probably in their peak working years when they earn it or when they receive it, and now they're going to pay even higher tax rates. And so, that would be the number one thing is writing the check and having people come to grips with that. It's not your money anyway.
I wish you would run for president so then you can change the rules of Social Security, because I'm going to start it this year. But there's 50% tax, 85% tax on that. The $6,000 extra standard deduction could affect you in a positive way, but you probably won't get all of that. But to me, I've already paid taxes on Social Security. Now I have to do it again. I'm not happy. I'm not happy, Mitch.
Well, and it was never designed to be taxed, right? It was never supposed to be taxed in its infancy when it came on. But shockingly, Congress found a way to tax our already taxed dollars, right? So here we are, and we're left to deal with it. So it is what it is. You might not think it's fair and all that, but we have to play by the rules that we have. And that, right now, that's the rule. So we better account for that and understand where all our income's coming from, right? Is it going to impact our Social Security? How much of it will be taxed? IRMA surcharge, all that stuff gets baked into it. And we need to be cognizant of that and plan right now today, but then stay on top of it. Things change. Tax rates are going to change. Maybe your income changes year to year, and maybe we can do more or less of a Roth conversion each year. That's the kind of stuff our team helps folks with and helps them navigate life. It's not just, hey, here's your plan, boom, do it, see ya, thanks. It's, hey, let's come back to this each and every year and recalibrate and keep you between the rumble strips as you're going down the retirement highway. We want to keep you on the road.